What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to describe an extremely vivid and the most memorable dream I've ever had in my life where I saw and met Jesus. Now before anyone watching this decides to, well, this is just a dream this guy had, it's not real. No, when I begin to describe the vividness memory of this dream, which was 10 years ago, you'll start to understand the feeling that I had. And that's the difference, was how I felt as this dream occurred. I've never felt anything more real in my life. So stick around, won't take too long, and I really think you'll get something out of it. And if you've had a similar dream or had an experience, maybe a near-death experience, and met God, Jesus, the universe, the spirit, source, energy, anything, whatever you believe in, doesn't matter to me, no judgment, and I'd love to hear about it in your comments. This was after October 6th, 2014, and I had a spinal fusion right here, had C6 and C7 fused a couple of days before this occurred. So yeah, I'm on heavy anesthesia, recovering from that, recovering from surgery, and sleeping a lot. But this is the only dream I remember having throughout this entire recovery, which takes a long time. So the dream begins. I am walking down a dark hallway, and at the end of the hallway is a doorway that is open, no door, and there is a warm light inside this door, or coming out of it. Also, I can hear really pretty beautiful piano music, real light music, you know, not loud at all, but I can hear it, it's coming out of that same room. And as I begin walking down this pitch black hallway toward that doorway, I also see multiple doorways on the left and the right of me. Maybe 3 doors on the left, 3 doors on the right, as I keep walking down. Now there's no light at all coming out of these doors. It is pitch black. So I decide to turn to my right and just kind of peek into one of those dark doorways, and there was nothing. Saw absolutely nothing. Couldn't see a floor. I couldn't see anything. Looked like it was just vast, empty, dark space was my assumption. And as I peeked into that doorway, I could just barely hear the sound of screaming, of pain. So naturally, I backed away from that doorway and said, well, I definitely don't want to go in there. And I continued walking down the hallway, and I finally get to this open doorway with the light coming from it. And I stand there. And as I look around, it's a single room. The piano music is now much louder, but you know, not super loud. I can just hear it very well. And the light is still super warm, you know, very inviting. It's kind of almost low lit, but very warm and inviting. The walls were made out of just plain wood, old looking, almost sort of like an old west or just a super old room that had been around a while. And the floor is basically the same, wood floor, not real big, just looking around. And then as I look to the right of the room, I see a vertical piano with a candle in a candle holder on top of the vertical piano, and the person playing the piano is Jesus. Now, yes, he looked like all the images, paintings, pictures, renditions that we have seen of Jesus throughout our lives, right? He looked like he had the brown hair, long, he had a beard, he had a white robe on. But here's the difference. I knew, even if he looked like a bald man with no beard and wearing a suit and tie, I would have known that that is still Jesus, or it's still God. There was no doubt, in my mind. I could feel it all over my being, all over my entire soul. So I walk over about 8 or 10 steps away toward this piano, toward Jesus, and I get up next to him. And then as I'm standing there looking down at him, he begins tilting his head upward, looking at me. It's happening real slow. And as he's tilting his head up, all of a sudden, his face is not just about 2 feet away from me, it's boom, right in front of my face. Just a few inches away from me, like that, in a snap. And it keeps tilting upward, and then as he's looking directly at me, I can see his eyes, and the irises in his eyes were millions of different colors. Millions of different colors I've never even seen before. There's no name to them. There's no way to even describe them. They're beyond the rainbow. They're beyond the spectrum. And it was incredible. And as I see that, I also see this beaming, the brightest light you could ever imagine, beaming out of the whites of his eyes, right into me, right through me. And I know that this light would blind you. I know this, I feel everything. I feel what's going on. I understand right away that this light would blind you on earth, but I'm seeing this light because this is the light of God. This is the light in heaven, and he's given me a look into it. Then, as all this is happening, all at the same time, it's kind of happening slowly and fast at the same time, which is also probably a sign that there is no concept of time with God in heaven. It's just, you're just there. You're always present, right? So that I got that feeling too. Now, as he's looking right through me, the thoughts of all the sins, the mistakes, the shame throughout my life began to come upon me because I know he can see all of it. There's no hiding it. And of course, we're all know that we're aware of it. But as soon as that shame started coming onto my mind, boom, gone. Completely gone. No worry or fear of that feeling, that shame, that guilt was present at all, completely gone. And I knew it could be gone forever. And then the dream ends. I wake up. So what do I take from all this? Well, I began to go over it and over it and over it in my head all throughout that following day, and I have many, many times, thousands of times since then, over the last 10 years. So as I'm walking down the hall, what I take from several things is, of course, I look into one of the dark hallways. I hear that very faint screaming. Is it hell? I don't know. But it's a place that no one wants to go. It also told me if there's multiple doors of darkness and only one door with the light, it reminded me there's all kinds of ways to go toward the darkness. There's only one way to go to God, toward the light, to Jesus. There's one door to get in, and that's it. It's right in front of you. And then as I stood there looking at the walls and the floor of that old room, the wooden room, it told me that, okay, Jesus was a carpenter. And there's no need for any fancy stuff. There was nothing fancy at all about this room. No desires in there, in other words. Just very simple, very plain, unassuming. And then like I described, the colors in his eyes, the millions of colors, it blew my mind, and it told me that there is endless things to see on the other side after this life, after our body expires and we move on to heaven or wherever you believe you might go. But I believe one day we all go home. We're all together. Doesn't matter how bad you were, doesn't matter the sins. We're all together because God is love. And if God is love and love is God, He loves us more than we could ever even imagine. And the things we see are endless. Just no idea what's ahead of us. And it's so exciting. You know, it's kind of a look, this is what I've got in store for you. Man, you have no idea. It's going to be incredible and amazing in paradise. And then the whites in his eyes, the light of God. I described that earlier. That's exactly what that was. And then, as I described earlier too, the forgiveness, the shame, the guilt, gone. There's no need to have it even here in this life. We can let go of it. It takes practice. It's not a perfect thing because we're in these imperfect bodies. But when we reach that other side, the understanding of true, incredible love from God, it's joy and it's beyond happiness. It's just joy. Constant 24/7 joy, but there is no 24/7. I'm just fascinated by that. It was quick. It seemed like a long time. But man, I remember every single detail. It's the only dream that I can remember every detail of. And for me, in my opinion, it was 100% real. I really did see Jesus. I saw God. I didn't ask to go to him, he just came to me. But for years I had been searching for him, looking for him. But in that dream he said, I've always been here. And thanks for looking for me. I appreciate it. So if you've had a dream, or if you've had a near-death experience, I have not had a near-death experience, but that's as close as I can relate to one. But I do believe if I do have a near-death experience in the future, or if my body just dies, whenever that day does occur, I know where I'm going, I know who I want to be with, and I want to be with all of you. I want to be with all the people that I love and everybody that's ever loved me. It'll be so wonderful. Forever, forever joy and peace and love. Leave a comment if you've had a similar experience. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.